What's up, fellow Lords of Gaming? Welcome back to another episode of Marvel Future Fight. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So I want to basically just give you first impression video of the update on a whole, and specifically ODIN, because that's the only really shining character inside here, and I'll get to what I mean about that. Essentially, you look at ODIN inside of the game and he's where it's all at. Like, the rest of the characters are like bit characters that really just didn't get enough to make them worthwhile unless you're just really interested in Shadowland clears or Shadowland clears. That's it. So first up, let's take a look at the notices, right? Because inside here we get the July update celebration event, and you get all uniforms. All uniform options are all 40% off. You get ODIN. If you don't have him already, you can purchase him in the character selection inside the shop for 20% discount. We get the pre-release event quest in the shop to collect the tokens. Not a whole lot there, really, just buying hidden tickets and freaking energy, pretty much, right? We get the hero growth bonus missions. We are accustomed to those at this point. Basically get the characters tier 3 potential and level them up. Then we get the character ranking events for Enchantress and for Angela Malekith coming up. And then we get rank 1 Black Antimatter and Northstone's Chaos surprise gift, like womp womp. War of the Realms update 7-day check-in event. Yeah, womp womp on that one. Like Malekith bios, Ulik bios, and then nothing else really to write home about. So not a whole lot there, right? Now, notice that timeline survival is probably one of the bigger changes and is really something to be excited about. So I don't want to shit on the whole update, right? But this is something to be excited about. So they've reworked timeline survival, but they've basically made it an event. So you play other game modes, and those other game modes will give you timeline survival tokens that you can use inside timeline survival, and then you can clear the challenges with the timeline survival tokens, or temporal energy rather, and basically you can get rewards. And the rewards are better because they include 4-star artifacts, right? So that's essentially what it is, right? Now, what I get into when I talk about the team overall, like I said, Malekith, Enchantress. Malekith basically gets a Transcendence. Enchantress basically gets a tier 3, as does did she get a tier 3? What did she get? Yeah, she gets a tier 3. I was like, what the hell? Why was I confused there? Malekith gains his Transcendence inside of here. So you basically get a transcendent character, and you're like, does this make sense? Like, does this really make sense? And then we get Angela, right? I think what a lot of people kind of felt some kind of way about this. I'm not too mad that they didn't put 2 tier 4 characters inside of update, but essentially you get her and the uniform, and yeah, so so these uniforms overall, I have to say, like, with these characters and whom they're competing against, I don't see very much reason to tell you invest in them unless you really want some stuff from them. Now, they have cool looking uniforms, but they're just not where it is for me. Now, beware, ODIN is a native tier 2 character. That means he is not going to be cheap by any stretch of the imaginations in order to level up. For instance, I had about 270 million gold. I'm down to about 229, and I already had him at tier 3. I had a few Odin's blessings on him just because, and I'll probably put a few more Odin's blessings on him. His uniform looks absolutely amazing. One of the things that gets me hopeful, as you can see here, the Avengers 1000, 1 million BC tagline. That makes me really excited because I'm hopeful that they are going to give us a Black Panther 1 million BC uniform. Shuri still hasn't gotten her Black Panther uniform. I don't know what the hell's going on there. And then we get the skills. Now let's make our way over to uniform options really quick, because I think it's important to pay attention to these, because we get the uniform effect, increase chain hit damage by 20%, and super armor, increase all basic defense by 50%. And then for the uniform options, what do you get? Again, they've done this routine where they've essentially snuck in, or not snuck in, they purposely did it because it's not, we're not noticing, but they got the one character inside here who's going to cost you money, right? Namor is a paywalled character, so you either got to go buy the biometrics so that way you can get this character, or yeah, buy the biometrics to get this character, or basically pay for the mega uniform upgrade ticket to get him all the way maxed out. Luckily, I don't need to go any further and max him out. I do want to max this character out at some point, but I don't need to. I'm maxed out on dodge and things like that anyways. Then we get, so it is also cool because his Namor's best uniform from the Wakanda Forever, so it's recent. It goes along with his tier 4, so it's good there. But then we get Ronin, Marvel Studios Avengers Endgame, and like, what the hell were you guys thinking? Because realistically, Hawkeye's got a better uniform in his hero suit. So why they went that route, I don't know. It's not a good uniform option. I don't think a lot of people will be happy about that. It's tied to this column, so like when you look at what you're changing for as well, you're probably going to want that uniform at Mythic, whether you're going for the physical attack, energy attack, or HP. So it makes it even like just more disappointing. Then we get Proxima Midnight in her Dark Obsidian armor uniform. Now this is Proxima Midnight's best uniform currently, right? The problem is how many people are going to basically play Proxima Midnight right now. I don't think that there's a lot of playroom for Proxima Midnight, so it's like give or take. I try not to judge characters based on like relevancy of character versus as relevancy of uniform to the character, because you may end up with fans of Proxima Midnight playing the game who are not caring about the meta, and they can still use Proxima Midnight to complete some content, but it's just like a bad uniform in terms of relevancy to the game. So I don't think there's that many Proxima Midnight fans that are like egging to get that Proxima Midnight uniform because they really love Proxima Midnight. Next up, we got Captain America Back to Basics. No problem here. Free to play uniform option. Good to go. And then we get Shadow Shell Moon Temple Defenders. So it's also a good uniform there to go, because if you were playing Shadow Shell, not a bad character to have at level 80 at the very minimum. She's a good uniform for her, so can't complain. Let's take a look at some of Odin's skills. I really think the skills look awesome. They've got minor tweaks to them. Difference VFX, like the way he flies in. Notice that he is wielding Mjolnir, right? So instead of Gungnir, he's got Mjolnir. So first skill up off the bat, right? Not a whole lot in his one skills. It's just not a whole lot there. But he essentially does the same movement that he did before, but before you had the cross X that came across and followed the path. Now it's just a column that goes straight through. That's all it is. Nothing really on that skill except for bleed, nobody cares about. And then you get decreased recovery rate by 50%, removes elasticity, right? That's what you got there. Second skill, Glorious Strike. Looks really cool, strikes out, unleashes some power there. I would like the more organic, kind of electricity to flow out versus the beams of electric, but they're there. Shock, Paralysis, which ignores immunity, and Barrier on the skill as well. Nobody really probably cares about the Barrier, right? But really, you're not rotating into those first and second skills, really. So where it all starts is Wrathful Wave, which has Silence Fracture and his Invincible, as well as Accumulation effect on there. Looks really cool. Reminds me of Black Bolt making his roar, and you just get the power damage on that one, right? So I really like that skill overall. So you're obviously going to be starting with the Accumulation on 3, and then it kind of makes sense. So then you got 4, which has Mjolnir Strike, nice little wind up iframes inside the skill. He gets Shock, Stun, Paralysis, which ignores immunity, and then he also gains Ignore Target's Dodge Rate by 100% for 5 seconds, 100% chance to grant all damage immunity for 5 seconds, and increase basic damage by 35% for one attack for 5 seconds. So you know you're ending on this skill essentially, right? Fifth skill, Giant Thunderstorm. Now, we've seen this skill before in terms of the look where he pops up from the ground. They changed it up just a little bit. Now, this is the skill that you do end up getting, that you do have to delay the canceling. So essentially with this skill, you're waiting until he slams his hammer to the ground. So you got pretty much like a 2-3 second delay, because he does wind up for this bad boy a bit. And I've played him inside some world boss content, and it's really hard to notice the slam. So you want to get the countdown, but it's there. Boom. Just a little hard to pinpoint. Like right now, I press the skill, you can't really see when he's doing the skill, right? So it's like 5, 1, 2, 3. So you got about 3 second delay there before you go. So 3 second delay, and then into 4. So his sixth skill, we all knew what this looked like. He summons all the Asgardians. Everybody comes in, does their thing, easy to cancel out. What I'm really excited about is his tier 4 skill, right? So essentially, on his 5th skill, he's got the invincible. He has a recovery of 25%. He also gets a frenzy buff of 45, 1, and 30, which is nice, and removes the capacitation. He gets the decreased basic defenses by 65% as well on that skill, so it's really, really nice. His tier 4 skill, he's essentially got immunity to all debuffs, increase all basic attacks by 100%. He gets another recovery effect on this, so he recovers 10% of his HP, and then he has the energy damage for 120. So essentially what you're looking at for the rotations, 3, 5, delay, cancel, 4, or you're going 6, 3, 5, 4, or 7, 6, 3, 5, delay, cancel, 4. So let's take a look at that practice combo inside of here. And you can see it right there, 3, 5, delay the cancel till the hammer comes down and then trigger the effect. You gotta make sure that hammer cancels down, otherwise you're gonna lose out on the damage from that 5th skill. The 2nd skill, when his tier 3 is up, it's just a really simple rotation, 6, 3. Ooh, I messed that one up, went way too quick. It's not even a delay cancel on that skill, so I don't know how I went that quick. 6, 3, 5, delay cancel, boom, and then we get his 3rd skill inside of here when his tier 4 is up, just like, you know, Thor, because he gets the increase all basic damage, basic attacks by 100% for 10 seconds, and then recovery lasts for 10 seconds as well. You're basically going to want to make sure that you have uptime on your 4. So 7, 6, 3, 5, and then delay cancel. That's the simple rotation for the character. Now, buyer beware, because the character is going to cost you a lot. He's a native tier 2. So that means that every time you try to go level up these uniform options, it's going to cost you some money. So just be aware of that. But I think overall the character looks really nice and amazing. I think I've already seen people testing him out at level 70 tier 3 and hitting some really, really outstanding benchmarks on excuse me, hitting some really high benchmarks on World Boss Legends characters. So like I think Cynic Alex did his stream. I caught some of it, and then I reviewed one of his videos, and he basically got all the way up to like level 70, 80 for Mephisto. I've seen like Forgo play the character and get some really good. Essentially what I think is going to end up happening with Odin is that he's going to be supplanting the roster of a lot of players who currently have Thor in their main lineup. Like for me, I have to imagine I'm going to T4 Odin. It's just a matter of when, not if. So unfortunately, I'm skipping past my girl Gwen. But I'm gonna play who I'm gonna play. So I'm skipping past Gwen, and I think that you're gonna end up having a Thor that supplants, Odin that supplants Thor in your roster. It just seems likely that you're not. It's two characters who are essentially doing the same thing, fulfilling the same role in terms of like when you look at their details on a character. So for instance, we've got energy projection, we've got command, and we know he's a universal alien male who's a superhero. And then if you go over to Thor, where is he at? There we go, bad Thor. So you come over to Thor, now he's got the shock on his skill, and then he's got the leadership, which gives him that basic, but he's also a universal alien male superhero with the same instincts and everything inside there. So it's like, yeah, so you basically get a character that can be supplanted very easily, especially in Alliance battle days, because they basically essentially fulfill the same role now at this point that Odin has his all lightning damage inside of there. Now the interesting part about this is the skills that they do have lightning damage on those skills for Thor and for Odinson now. I mean for Odin, right? So what this means is that on days when you have ABL and you have the lightning reason, are you going to use Thor or are you going to use Odin? I think most players are going to rush to use Odin. He's newer in terms of when he's got his uniform. He's more than likely going to be more powerful than Thor. It's not even a more than likely. He is more powerful than Thor. So you get supplanted father and son. Now, when we get to the point where we get a Thor who's actually achieving the power levels that he should be achieving, who knows? I really don't know. The one thing that I want to play out and test with inside of here is like I left Thor with his CTP of Rage. And what I'm wondering with Odin is whether or not he's going to be more comfortable with CTP of Rage or CTP of Judgment. The reason why I say like the CTP of Rage is just because That's a long delay cancel in his 5th skill, leading into his 4th skill, especially with the 3rd skill beyond that. I don't see a way where you don't trigger the proc on the 3rd skill, but I have to play with the character some more. I've got to search for the 2nd potential and see what that looks like as well. But I'm really excited about the character ODIN coming inside here. A little disappointed that, you know, he's going to be supplanting Thor for the roster spot, but it is what it is. All characters will eventually be supplanted because they don't really have a rebalancing of characters with the uniforms. It's like basically the newer the character uniform, the more powerful they are compared to their counterparts and characters that come before them. So it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Until next time, peace.